I see a lot of people complaining this week on social media about the decision of NASCAR to remove the rebel flag from their events and the United States Marine Corps outlawing it on their bases. If you're one of them, stop. All this polarized nonsense of my team versus your team and us hunkering down in our positions, it has to end. Now, I get why you're pushing back. The left is constantly attacking our history, constantly attacking our heritage, ripping everything down that they can. But when it comes to this specific issue, we're wrong. When it comes to being on the wrong side of history, here's a news flash. The Confederate Army during the Civil War, they were on the wrong side. I'm the one being consistent here. It's a consistent principle over partisanship. When I saw people protesting that they want to be able to become part of this beautiful union, and in the process they were waving Mexican flags, I hated that. When it comes to this whole Afrocentric stuff, I think it's ridiculous. First off, Africa is a continent. It's not a country. Each country in that continent has very different cultures. So when you are loyal to a continent, you're basically being as racist as can be and saying you're just loyal to a color. And I'm not even going to comment on this nonsense up here. And before you call me racist for not liking other people's flags, I don't like flags that allegedly have to do with my heritage either. Now, my father hung up a German flag and an Irish flag in the backyard outside the American flag. Now, in his defense, they were given to him, and the only reason he really hung them is because he had boarded up windows when we did some reconstruction. So he just had it covering up because it was a cosmetic eyesore. That said, I still objected to it. I don't like any flags other than the American flag because as far as I'm concerned, I'm American. I'll celebrate St. Patrick the man because he's an honorable man, but I have never celebrated St. Patrick's Day in my entire life because I don't care about blood. I don't care about DNA. I care about ideas. And when it comes to those ideas, I am 100% American because we are the freest, most prosperous, greatest, and most noble nation the earth has ever seen. And it's because of our ideas. It's because of our beliefs. What do we believe? Pull out a coin. Look at it because it's minted on every single coin. The values that we hold dear in the United States are liberty, in God we trust, and e pluribus unum. Out of many, we become one. And the Democrat Rebellion of 1860 is an affront to those values that we hold dear. Now throw away this nonsense about it being about states' rights. It wasn't about states' rights, it was about retaining slavery. In fact, if you read history, the real history, when the South seceded from the Union, one of their complaints was that the North was asserting their state right not to return runaway slaves. So the Civil War was about slavery and the Republicans' effort to abolish it. So, is the South a beautiful place today? Yes. Not just the environment, but the culture as well. That's why I moved here. But it's also because it is not today what it once was. So let's put those relics away because they no longer belong here. Should Germans be ashamed to be German? No. But should they be ashamed of a Nazi past? Yes. Should Southerners be ashamed to be Southern? No. But should they be embarrassed by the link to slavery? Yes. The flag in question was the Confederate Battle flag. It was the war flag of an enemy of the United States. It's no different than the rising sun, the Nazi flag, the Soviet flag, which the left doesn't seem to have too much of a problem flying. That doesn't offend them, but it offends me, and the Antifa flag. So let's put that flag back where it belongs, in a museum, lest we forget. Now for you guys on the left. You want to know why so much pushback from the conservative side? They're basically tired of your absolute hyperbolic baloney. Read an article where someone acts like he gets PTSD when he sees that flag. You have severe mental problems if looking at a flag gives you PTSD. None of us have had any experience with that flag in real life. We've seen it depicted in movies. So you should be no more afraid and shocked by that flag than the flag of the Empire from Star Wars. And stop assuming, or at least saying when you know it's not true, that everyone that flies that flag must be doing it for racist reasons. Just accept the reality that for most people, it just kind of looks cool. The General Lee is the coolest car probably ever made. And for most people, that flag means nothing more than it represents just some good old boys never meaning no harm. And as the federal government encroaches more and more into our personal liberty, interferes with our lives, and offends our sensibilities and our values, the rebel flag to many people symbolizes liberty and independence more than the American flag does. It's not uncommon in the South to actually see blacks flying the rebel flag. So stop thinking that just because someone looks a certain way, they must think a certain way. Your values are not monolithic, and you need to learn to have a little respect for other people's values if you want us to understand and respect yours. If you actually study history, you would know that the North, during the Civil War, was horribly abusive to the South, and even more so in the period afterwards during Reconstruction. And it is because of this oppression of the South that conditions were created which gave rise to Democrat terrorist groups such as the KKK. It's not much different than the fact that the Treaty of Versailles was so abusive of the Germans after World War I that it created an environment where Nazis were able to rise. So instead of seeing everything in black and white, which is so popular in our uneducated, unnuanced, condemn everyone else, cancel culture that thrives in social media, maybe you look at that heritage with a little understanding that it's a way for a conquered people just to save a little face. Should the rebel battle flag go? Yes. Does it represent people who were on the wrong side of history? Yes. But those of you demanding its removal, how about you show a little grace in the process as well?